Yo, what's good, people? We back at it for another episode of What's the Word with LJ Mental Podcast. As always, I'm your host with the most, LJ. Back in here. Yeah, man. You've been going strong for a little bit now. Over a year and a half. Um, Now, if you see when you click on this episode, whether you watching it from online on YouTube or Spotify, wherever you listen to it from, name this episode They Reminisce Over You. Uh, Let me get into the word of the week. It's a play on a song from back in the 90s from Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Uh, they reminisce over you. And the word of the week is nostalgia for a couple reasons. And I'm going to talk about something that's not related to nostalgia after that. But let me get into the word of the week first. Um, First and foremost, rest in peace to Anthony Johnson, aka Ezel from Friday. Now I know the man has done other roles, but I think he's probably most known. That's what I'm most known for. When you see him in other stuff, I'm like, oh shit, it's Ezel from Friday. Um, I know a lot of people that think about that, but I know he was in other stuff. I know he was in How to Be a Player, which is also one of my favorite movies from back in the 90s. Hilarious. Also, rest in peace with my favorite comedian, Bernie Mac, is on that movie too. Uh, he's also in, I believe he's in Players Club too. A lot of, few Ice Cube flicks he's in. Yeah, he's in a couple other things too. But yeah, I know he's most known for being in Friday. He was also in, I remember him talking about it in an interview that he was in when Eazy-E was having the diss records back and forth with Dr. Dre. Uh, he played the fake Eazy-E, and I think he said in the beginning of the video, like he was there to shoot. I think they shoot for a couple of days. He was there. I think either the first and second day, and then he said Suge Knight had him say like, "Nah, you ain't doing that no more." And then they had, I guess, Easy and the crew had to get somebody else because Suge Knight kept them away. They had somebody stand in or somebody else play the rest of it. But yeah, he was in that video too. And yeah, he was all over the place in the 90s, which is considered the golden era in a lot of areas, especially with hip hop. Say with TV shows, with movies, a lot of areas. Like there's a lot of content now, like all over the place now, and technology is a lot better, obviously, than it was back in the '90s. So you could do a lot more now with HD and all of that. But the '90s, it was just something about that era that was just different. It was a really wild time. I was a youngin' in the '90s. I was born in '88. So, but yeah, in the '90s, I remember the '90s. It was a wild time, and but yeah, it was but yeah, once again, rest in peace to Anthony Johnson. I'm most known as Ezel. I guess they ain't saying how the man passed, how he died yet. I'm not sure, but yeah, that's just tragic news. Like, man, seeing that all the people I grew up watching is gone or leaving this planet. It's crazy, man. Like, man, it's really wild. Back a few months ago, it was Shock G, it was Tiny Lister, like, now it's Ezel, man. It's crazy, man. But they getting up there. I think those guys was in their 50s. I know Anthony Johnson was in his 50s. Uh, and this is an iconic role in Friday. If you haven't seen that movie, you should. I'm being real. Like, don't tell. I know people like to make these things like, oh, things black people don't eat, or black people. If you ever seen this, you ain't black. I ain't gonna go that far, but if you black and ain't seen Friday, that is kind of crazy. I'm sorry, and you don't gotta be black because I think white folks can appreciate the movie too. But you ain't black and ain't seen Friday. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's I've seen the movie. I can't count how many times I've seen it. Um, yeah, there's been so many since I've seen it. It's been a few years since I last watched it, but yeah, yeah, I've seen that movie so many times. Probably first time I saw it, I was probably. I mean, it's not really a whole lot of craziness in the movie, but I remember I was real young when I seen it the very first time. Um, but yeah, it's very iconic role, and I guess Ezel, he was supposed to reprise his role in next Friday, but I guess some things happened. Not gonna get into that, and he wasn't able wasn't able to do the second movie for some reasons, I guess. But yeah, it's unfortunate, man. But yeah, Ezel, I remember that iconic scene in the movie Friday when Smokey Craig is going into the store, and this fool gonna get in there, and this fool Ezel gonna get in there, act like he slipped on some shit, and talking about my neck and my back. I want 150,000. Man, people that see that movie know exactly what I'm talking about. um, but yeah. So the iconic role, he was the local crackhead. If you from the hood, you I'm sure everybody got seen one of them around. They in a way they kind of harmless. Like I feel like this way. If you grow up in the hood, you can kind of relate. Not all of them. Some of them steal. Some of them just looking for ways to get by. But some of them be having some advice sometimes. But Ezel, he was just a funny dude in the hood. Sometimes he would steal. Sometimes he would just be some places where he shouldn't be. But he was just one of them cats that was around in the neighborhood that was around. Like, yeah, I think, like I said, anybody from around the way can know somebody like that was around. But yeah, once again, rest in peace to that brother, Anthony Johnson. All right, so now let me get on to the next thing. So I've been watching. I've been into Power since really, I ain't gonna say day one, but season 2 is when I first got on. Right before season 2 came out, I binge watched season 1, and then I was hooked ever since. But this particular, now they created the Power universe, and all these spin-off shows. And this third show, Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, is out right now, and that takes place in the 90s, early 90s, at least this first season, and this season finale's coming up. And honestly, I don't know, this might be the best one, and I love Power Book 1. I was surprised I liked Power Book 2. I didn't think I would like it, but it's actually better than I thought it was. But Power Book 3 might be the best one. It might be, even though like it doesn't include like actors Omari Hardwick and Joseph Sakura as Tommy and Ghost. Doesn't have Tasha, doesn't have Angela, but these are all new actors and playing the younger version of Kanan and a bunch of new faces that helped shape Kanan into the ruthless cat we know him in the first Power. In Power Book 1, the older version, but yeah, it's just that whole era, like the way they dress, and man, Patina Miller, who plays Kanan's mom, Rock, on the show, she never misses a moment. She be looking fly as hell. Not only is she fine as hell, but she be looking fresh. Like it don't matter if she going to the little bodega. It don't matter if she going to the projects. It don't matter if she going to check out a new apartment building, like business meeting, whatever. Like she look fresh all to death all the time. I'm like, damn, like yeah, they did it right. And it's that whole, and like her little brother Lou, like he be fly too. Like that whole '90s feel, like especially from that era in New York. I like that jacket he be having on. And he looking fresh with the Timbs and all of that. But yeah, that whole era's dope, especially with the music. Um, this is before the Pac and Biggie era. Before Pac and Biggie came out, it was the probably two most known faces in the '90s. This is a little before that. Um, this was around Tribe Called Quest era. I just mentioned Pete Rock and CL Smooth. They was around in that era. Uh, Guru Gangstar was around. Um, this was like the end of the NWA era. This was a little after that. But yeah, it was a lot of great hip hop during that time. It's that whole movement, the shape of that whole era in the early '90s was just different. In '92, I don't know if they're gonna. I don't know if next season is gonna. That's when shit hit the fan in a lot of areas in '92. So I think that's because then you can start getting into Naughty by Nature. You can get into a little bit of Pac from that time period. But really, there's a lot of West Coast during that time dominating. You got Dre, obviously Dr. Dre with the Chronic, obviously. But yeah, that whole era was just dope. So I don't know where they're gonna take it. If this is gonna translate to '92 next season, I don't know. But yeah, this has been a reminiscent of that era, that whole era, and I love it. And just the whole story is dope too. I feel like Kanan's mom can be a little annoying sometimes. She's hard headed as hell, like she's really fucking hard headed, and I think it's gonna cost her. I don't know. I'm not spoiling nothing because it hasn't happened yet, but yeah, yeah, she hard headed as hell, and I think it's gonna cost her some. And but yeah, we gonna see how this play out. The season finale is next week, and I can't wait to see it. But yeah, young Kanan, 15 years old. And I was reading somewhere like, where's Ghost and Tommy, right? But yeah, by this time, Kanan is a lot older than him. I think he's like 5, 6 years older than him. So if they're even in the show, it's probably not gonna be for a long time. Probably at least a few seasons. If I don't know how long they plan on going with this particular show. But yeah, if they do introduce them, yeah, it's probably not gonna be till like season 3 or 4. Because I'm interested, because in the first Power, I'm interested in hearing about or seeing firsthand some of the stories they talk about, like with how Ghost shaped to be who he was, how Kanan met Ghost and Tommy, and how that went about. And I know they talked about a guy that Ghost took out on his way to the top named Breeze. They mentioned him a few times on Power. I want to see that play out, how that whole relationship with this guy Breeze. I don't know if he's Kanan age or they Ghost and Tommy age. But yeah, I'm interested in that character, that guy Breeze, and how that. So if that happens, yeah, that'll probably be like maybe season 4 or 5. I don't know how long Raising Kanan is gonna go, but yeah, I want to see how that play out. But right now they're in the beginning stages. And there's some really wild shit that just went down. If you ain't seen the latest episode 9, yeah, somebody just got took out. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think this finale in for a great one, and I love Joey Badass character, unique too. Like he's a dope character too. That she is whole fit from that era, and I feel like he fits too. Like. Cause I know as an MC, I don't know if he was still rapping, but he hasn't put out no music in a while. But they was saying like a lot of people remind them of that whole era of the '90s in New York, the boom bap or whatever you want to call it. And but he got a little bit of that, but to me he got his own. Him and his pro era crew got a whole nother style. But in a way, but yeah, he fits in this whole series of Raising Kanan. Yeah, man, it's gonna be a wild one how this season 1 play out. It's been a real real crazy. Been some stuff in this last episode. I seen like, oh shit. But yeah, the season finale probably gonna be even crazier. But we gonna see. Courtney Kemp has been the lead on all three of these, and she just continues to amaze me. Being the showrunner of Power 1, 2, and 3, and her and 50 created something special. Her and 50 Cent created something pretty amazing. But yeah, it's can't wait to see the season finale. And so this Sunday, September 26th is the season finale, but it's also, I think, the season premiere of another show that 50 is producing. BMF stands for Black Mafia Family, if you know about that era, which is some more nostalgia. It's about that era. I'm not sure. It seems like they're going to start out where they're from in Detroit, their early years. I don't know if they're going to transition to Atlanta with Big Meech. Took that whole era over the early 2000s, and when Terry, his brother Big T, was out holding it down out on the West Coast. Yeah, it looks like from what I seen in the trailer, they're going to be starting out in Detroit before they even became really BMF. Because I remember hearing about, I've never been to Atlanta, but I know people that's lived there, been around in that era, early 2000s. And they said like, man, I've seen documentaries about it, about the world as BMFs. They had billboards everywhere of that, and people that was living there talking about, yeah, it was really like that. But they had it on lock, and if you know the story, Big Meech had, like, I know they fell out, him and their brother fell out because he was worried that, T was worried that Big Meech was too flashy because he's out in the clubs, and he had like a real like loud persona, him and his crew out in ATL. But it was really Terry that was the one getting them exposed because the police had them wiretapped and all of that, and they really didn't have shit on Meech until them phone taps came out. But yeah, they ain't had nothing on him. Plus he had like legitimate businesses, like he started a record label, so but yeah, I don't know how much. It seemed like that came later on when they got to ATL and California. But in Detroit, where they from, and started getting things done and handling their business. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see because I don't know much about that backstory of how they started in Detroit. I know it was a big deal back then too. So, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that play out in Detroit because it seemed like that's where they started. But I think Big Meech's son is playing him in the show. I know Snoop Dogg is gonna be on there. Lala. I don't know what roles they play. I think Eminem getting a cameo in there. I think so. Yeah, some big names in this joint. And it's a great story. And 50, I've heard 50 for a long time trying to get this shit. He's been talking about it for years. He's consistently saying this is gonna be better than Power. Well, we about to see. That's hard to believe because Power, I think, is amazing. That's hard to believe, but hey, maybe it will be. We gonna see though. But yeah, that's another era that going back to. I don't know when they started. Yeah, I don't want to say the wrong years, so I'm not sure when they started, but I know when they took over Atlanta, that was in the 2000s. But I think Detroit is many years before that. Many years before that. So yeah, we gonna see how that play. I don't know if they gonna start real young and then maybe later transition to years later. I don't know how they gonna play that out. I have no idea, but it's gonna be interesting to see how that play out. But yes, we're very nostalgic this week, and you gotta appreciate. I feel like you gotta appreciate the past to recognize the present, and to lead to what your future can be. Because there were some errors, not to dwell in the past. You definitely can't do that. But there's been some, I like I said, some people consider it golden age, the '90s, the '80s, whatever. Um, but but last thing I want to talk about before I get up out of here is you can't be staying. This isn't related to nostalgia. This is actually focused on the now and on towards the future. What I'm talking about is the movie companies, AMC, the movie theaters. I read that they actually planning on accepting cryptocurrency by the end of the year. They're not yet, but as for transactions, they're gonna start with Bitcoin and some others, I believe. But yeah, that's the crypto is gonna be taking over. There's been some eras that's taken over, like we got now with the internet, with cell phones, with social media. Like honestly, like some people don't like it. I don't even like it sometimes with social media, but it's necessary. You gotta get with it or get lost. Like seriously, like it's a bit much sometimes. But yeah, this is the wave I think of the future, and I know Elon Musk was one of the first ones to come out and say with Tesla he's going to be taking Bitcoin. I spoke about it a few weeks ago that he stopped it because of the fees that in some countries around the world are having issues with Bitcoin and some others right now, and also there's get a lot of gas fees right now with some of these coins. So yeah, they're just waiting for that to iron out, and they'll probably get that. They're gonna get that straightened out, and once they do, uh, yeah, I think they'll probably be back with Tesla too, as far as But yeah, the market has been down for like a few weeks. Um, Really this week, if you are an investor right now like myself with cryptocurrency, yeah, you see it's been down this week. But yeah, AMC is a stock too that's been kind of a hot one, especially early this year. I think the stock rose like a few 100% uh, previously in previous years, because obviously COVID, people couldn't go to the movies anymore. But the stock rose a lot early this year. It's been kind of stagnant the last few months. Hasn't done much moving compared to what it did in the beginning of the year. But yeah, it's interesting that and pretty soon a lot of these companies are going to start accepting cryptocurrency. Um, it's the wave of the future. I don't know how it's gonna work. I'm gonna do more research on it, and like I'm not an expert on this. I'm gonna be here to admit I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm learning something new about it every day. Uh, but yeah, I think like I said, you gotta either get with it or get left behind. You gotta try because knowledge is important. Somebody's helped me instill knowledge in me on how to invest and how to start a business for one. Uh, but yeah, I encourage everybody to start investing. Coinbase is good. Voyager is good. I know in New York State they don't have Voyager. They do have Coinbase. Uh, yeah, I would encourage everybody to start investing. Do your own research. Like I said, I'm not an expert. But yeah, I'm learning something new every day. You gotta get with it or get lost or get left behind. Just like this social media era, just like with these cell phones, the internet. There's some people still have landlines. Some people need them for certain reasons, so to speak. But some people only have landlines still, like maybe the older generation. Um, but yeah, and and I mean, look at all the stuff now with Instagram and you got Snapchat and now TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I don't see it. And the reason why I don't, like, for one, like, it, I don't want to. It doesn't look interesting enough for me. And I don't really see a reason I would have. Maybe somebody can educate me on it. Somebody that's really on TikTok, but I don't really see a reason for me to have it. Like, It's not gonna. I don't see the benefit of somebody like me having. I've seen some videos like on YouTube from TikTok. I've never actually been on TikTok at all, but I've seen some creative stuff. Like some people created some different trends. Like people got these different dance moves from their maybe a song they created or some different movements. Somebody selling their products and create doing some. I've seen some creative things with TikTok. That's interesting. But me personally, I don't see the benefit of having it, or would I, or at least I don't see how I would be able to use it to help benefit and to create like some money from it. I don't really see a benefit from it. Maybe somebody could school me. I don't know, but I don't really see a use for it right now. And maybe that'll change if somebody could say, "Oh, you could do this," and get creative with it. Then maybe I'll change my mind. But for right now, yeah, I'm good on TikTok. And probably the next few months to a year is gonna be something else. That's just the way the world works. Technology ain't going nowhere. It's only getting more advanced. I'm actually really surprised we don't have flying cars yet. I think I spoke about that briefly, like how it was like I guess a thought, and when they made it in the cartoon on the Jetsons, but yeah, and this the thought of having some crazy drivers in the air. That's kind of a scary thought, actually. If they had like a literal skyway of a bunch of, because there's already people on the road that can't drive and are out their damn mind. Just the thought of like having a bunch of vehicles in the sky is that's actually kind of a scary thought, actually. So I actually hope that never happens where everybody has flying cars, because some people really cannot drive. But yeah, not to get too off track though. The world constantly evolving, changing. Even though I started this episode speaking about nostalgic things, and the word of the week is nostalgia. Just leave you with this last piece is it's good to recognize the past, appreciate the past, but don't dwell on it, because um, these things that's happening, they keep moving. So you either gotta get with it or get left behind. So yeah, like I said, get on that investing, and investing in stock and crypto are different, but they both have their own benefits. I would suggest you do your own research on it. But yeah, get to it. So yeah, that's gonna be it for me. And as always, stay safe, stay sucker free. I'm out.